We actually started with a British company, Bernard Matthews. We obviously became with Baraha, so it was Baraha Norfolk Foods, and that's how people knew us for quite a while. Still, there's a bit of confusion.
Yes, right.
Anywhere we go, we always go to a supermarket, right? And we always carry a little freezer bag, and we always bring things back. That is how you expand. To really fill the basket of our customer, diversify as much as we can. You can come to one of our stores, be able to buy whatever you want for your kitchen or for your meal or for your entertainment, and see how we can best help. So being not just a frozen food producer, not just a meat producer, but see where else we can.
Hi everyone, and the studio today with me is Ameena Ziauddin, President of Norfolk Foods. Today we will discuss the history and the journey so far of Norfolk Foods. Welcome, Ameena.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Norfolk Foods is celebrating 31 years of existence. It's been a long journey. Please enlighten us on the journey so far.
So Norfolk Foods was started by my parents, so over 30 years ago when they returned from the UK. They always wanted to come back home, and they had been in the UK for over 25 years, and they wanted to share their knowledge. So my dad is a food technologist and my mom is a microbiologist, and together this was their fifth job together. So that was that. So over 30 years, they've struggled, they've changed, they've evolved, and now Norfolk Foods is one of the leading companies in Sri Lanka.
Excellent. And when you started, who were your partners and who are your partners now?
So when we actually started with a British company, Bernard Matthews, where my father was a director of before. And then they gifted the shares back to my parents, and then they left. So then they were on their own for a bit. I mean, obviously we came with Baraha, so it was Baraha Norfolk Foods, and that's how people knew us for quite a while. And still there's a bit of confusion.
Yes, there is.
So we were on our own after we parted with Baraha. And that's, I think, in the 90s, Universal came. So till then, Universal was with us for a few years, and they really helped us grow. They got us into the Maldivian market, and, the late Mr. Maniku was such a strength to us and, really helped us get out of some deep water. After which we partnered with Expo Lanka. That lasted a few years as well. They also helped us grow in different ways. Each partner brought something new. And I think this is something that's important, that family companies really try and see. It is a scary thing to do, get a partner on board, but it does help in so many different ways. And that ended a few years ago. And then CPF joined us over 8 years ago now. Wow. So they're our current partners.
Excellent. Your parents started this company. A labor of love, a family project.
Yes.
But obviously, as they age, and obviously, they're looking for long-term, succession planning. They brought you in quite a few years ago, actually, not as much longer than anybody would assume. And how have they integrated, that need for long-term succession planning into their corporate strategy?
I mean, this is something that they've always known, right? They know that they weren't going to be around forever. And this is something that even, when I was quite a small child, I was like, when I grow up, I want to join the company. But, all jokes aside, it was like, okay, if you really want to, this is what we're going to do. So, I mean, I started working internships when I was 16. Different industries around the food industry to see if I really wanted to do it, and then to get the experience that I needed. And I did a degree. I did food production management for my master's, but my initial degree was engineering, and that was because my mom didn't want me to narrow my choices, because she said, if you don't want to join the company, then we don't want you to do food initially. So then after doing my master's, my parents were like, okay, get a job in the UK, stay there, do some work, whatever. But, you plan and God plans. And I actually moved back right after my master's. I had got a job in the UK, but things changed at home. So I moved back. So the succession planning part, with every partner that came in, the question was, who's next? What's next? And so it was always put, okay, I was pushed this one. So I was very lucky, obviously, in that aspect. I remember even with Expo Lanka, I was allowed to come and sit on the board meetings, observe things, learn things, how things worked. And when we did decide, okay, I would step up as MD, I think my father decided, 2 or 3 years ago, he said, look, I am now 75. I would rather transition this than just suddenly hand over to you. So we did get an external person involved, and he was my mentor. He was someone that my dad respected and I respected. So there was like mutual respect and mediation. And he mentored me through that process. And it was quite a formal process, actually. He gave us timelines, deadlines, so that we were able to transition into it.
The industry that you're in, right? You have a wide product portfolio, but it's also a very competitive industry.
Very competitive. Yes.
The consumer tastes are changing all the time. People are very conscious about, their health. They're conscious about protecting the environment and how you get to the plate, how the food product gets to the plate. And also, I think that people are experimenting with various types of food, right? So how do you adapt your product portfolio to incorporate these changes, and also how do you anticipate changes?
So, I mean, to answer your question in two folds, to anticipate change is obviously very important, right? You need to keep your finger on the pulse, see what people are doing, see what's happening in the media. Even entertainment, what are people being exposed to now? Like, are people being exposed to different shows, different things that really does influence how people eat. And it's a very personal choice, right? About, like, obviously conservatism and all that. I mean, we do try to be on the forefront of these things, but it's not us alone. We need our suppliers to also be wanting to make that change, because obviously we're just one person in the supply chain. If our other suppliers and customers are also on the same page, it's so much easier. So we do have suppliers who are, on the forefront going, look, we have this product. It's, example, recyclable or made of recyclable material. Would you be interested? Thing is, in the food industry, it's not particularly very easy. Right, you have a lot of things that need to be food grade. We have things that we have to be, by law, have to be a certain way. So it's not easy as flipping a switch and going, no, everything that we have is, of a certain type. But it is something we are considering. And, especially in the food industry, we use a lot of water, waste. So it's being more mindful, I think, as an industry as a whole, where we're trying to go.
Excellent. Yeah. Looking at the background of the founders and yourself, right? There is a lot of food technology kind of in the background. So I think processes are very important to you. Innovation is very important to you. To deal with the competition we spoke before, obviously R&D and innovation plays a very important part, and seems more than any other company I can see, it's part of your DNA. How are you using R&D and innovation to sort of fight the competition and also stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, I mean, R&D, as you said, is in our DNA. My father, still loves to do it, and it was very important for me as well. That's how I got into the company, and through that department. And it's something that we do all the time. And it's something that we task everyone else to do as well. Don't make it just the R&D department. If you have an idea, bring it up. Whether it be process development, product development, business development. Anyone with an idea, we try and encourage to bring it up to the forefront. Without it, we would have been dead, to be very honest. It is the Hunger Games now, right? So without R&D, without being always one step ahead, there's no way we could have survived this market. I mean, we are a small fish in a very large pond, right? So, we always have to make sure that we're one step ahead. And I joke, I say we do free R&D for everybody else. And I know I'm saying this on a public forum, but it's true, right? It's true. And it's, I say imitation is the most common form of flattery, but what to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your innovation comes through internally generated? Is it collaboration? Is it?
It depends. It depends. So we cater to different customers. So some customers come up with saying, okay, we have this requirement. This is the recipe that we have. Can you make it for us? That's one way. One way they go, we have no idea, but we want to launch something like this. Can you help us?
Right.
So then, or we go, look, we have this product. We think it'll be good for you. Would you like it? So it depends on the customer really and how they perceive what they want. Yeah.
And you collaborate with your partners as well, your shareholders and others as well. Okay.
It is important. I mean, we are lucky that we have shareholders and our partners are global. So they do invite us to different factories around the world, and then we get to see how those industries are working. And it's so different. Like you say, the food industry here, the food industry in Bangkok is so different. And we learn so much. And anywhere we go, we always go to a supermarket, right? And we always carry the freezer bag, and we always bring things back, because I think that is how you expand your knowledge, expand your taste buds, is by forever trying new things, right? So that's what we're trying to do.
Excellent. I'm going to move to a completely different direction now. Digital technologies, AI is transforming basically everything, right?
Yes.
How is it affecting your industry? How are you using those tools to keep ahead of the competition?
So in terms of automation, we've always had automation. I mean, that's something that we're very passionate about. Even last week, our vice chairman was in some district in China looking at designing machines and things like that. So that's something we've always done, and we hopefully, inshallah, will always do. With AI, it is obviously something everyone is now getting involved in, and we're trying to use those tools. We have a business analyst who is trying to encourage us. I think she's like one of the youngest people in our office. It's like, you must do this, you must do that. So we are trying. I'm not saying we're at the forefront, but we are obviously trying to see what tools can help us. And obviously, being a manufacturing entity, AI can help us in two things. We can help us with obviously analyzing data, but also analyzing processes. So we're trying to see on both ways how we can get that on board.
That process is being informed. Obviously, you have in-house talent as well, but also from outside.
Yes, we have been approached by people who can help us, consultants and things like that, who we are working with at the moment, trying to see who can help us best. Because I think it'd be stupid to shy away from all this sort of thing. So we are trying to take it one step at a time to see how we can make it work for us.
31 years. How does the next 31 years look like in terms of the long-term vision?
Yeah, so inshallah for the next 31, we would want to be seen more of a food solution provider as opposed to frozen food. Really fill the basket of our customer, diversify as much as we can to provide as much as we can to a customer. So what we say is, if you can come to one of our stores, be able to buy whatever you want for your kitchen or for your meal or for your entertainment, and see how we can best help. And that's something we're quite passionate about doing. So being not just a frozen food producer, not just a meat producer, but see where else we can go.
You've been in the industry for almost 14 years?
Almost 14 years, yeah.
What has surprised you about the industry?
Interesting question. I think the industry is its resilience. We as a nation are very resilient, but even the food industry is very resilient. And I think we take it for granted. We've always bounced back. After every crisis, we have always bounced back. And that is something that has surprised me, but also reassured me at the same time.
About expansion, I see you and also your family members at international conferences, food exhibitions, etc. How is that going, and how do you see yourself in terms of being a regional player?
So we are trying to expand in the region, which is obviously why we were in Riyadh last month. It is not easy, and I will be very blunt about it. We need support from government bodies where we are trying to expand, especially with poultry products. Right now, there is some, I would say, almost barriers to entry, which we are trying to evolve over. The product is good. When we sample it, they think it's excellent, and I'm being obviously very biased. But the thing is, it's that initial barrier to entry which we're trying to get over. So we're looking at the Middle Eastern region and also South Asia as well. And it's part of our next 10-year plan where we say, we would like to expand into these regions, because Sri Lanka is only so much we can do, right? So, like the factory that we've built in India, we would try and see where else we can expand into.
The final question is around, consumption habits of the public as well. Where do you see the Sri Lankan consumer going, and also where the global consumer is going? And is there going to be some sort of convergence at some point as well?
The thing is, now with, I keep saying this, with the internet, with the entertainment platforms, global and local is the same. Right, Prima has ramen noodles, right? We're exposed to so much now, so that whatever global trend will eventually find its way to our local market, right? And we have to be smart enough to make it into our local market. Again, the whole the interest in what you eat, farm to plate, will come back again. I think there is concern about things like that. I'm think maybe the alternative protein, not in the way that we think though. I think there will be a resurgence in maybe the alternative protein, but clean labeling of alternative protein. Right. And in the crux of it, it's when you turn the packet and you read the ingredients, you should know what you're eating. And I think that's across the board. I think there is an interest in, okay, what am I putting in my body? And this is something that the food industry is working on. Because even things like ascorbic acid, people freak out about it, but it's vitamin C, right? So it's how do we then change the way that we label food products to make it more consumable for the consumer? So yeah, I think that's a few things that we think.
Ameena, Ziauddin, thank you for sharing the Norfolk Foods story, and best wishes for the next 31 years of business.
Thank you very much. Thank you.